Mr. Wraith, stand back. With these words, your mortal shall meet my fate with fiery hell.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Look at what they've done to my boy, Henry Cavill. This is Liam Hemsworth in the first look of him as Geralt of Rivia, replacing Henry Cavill on The Witcher Season 4. I'm sure there are a lot of you that thought that Netflix actually forgot about The Witcher because they have not said anything about this since they announced that Liam Hemsworth was taking over for Henry Cavill. It almost seems like Netflix tried to sneak this trailer out when everybody was away because it was Saturday night, like, oh, they're off doing stuff, they won't notice that we dropped it. It is going to take a hot minute to get used to this for the last 2 seasons because they've already started filming The Witcher Season 5, and that will be the last season. You can kind of tell the way they release this, they don't want to focus too much on the actual dialogue, they just want to show you a quick action scene to show you how they polish the special effects. Like, please don't focus on the fact that it's Liam Hemsworth and not Henry Cavill, just look at the cool special effects. Kinda seems like things behind the scenes with The Witcher are a total mess, so we will see how it all goes down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get the videos. I know there are going to be a ton of questions about why Henry Cavill left, what's he doing now with his Warhammer series and movies, what's he doing with the Highlander movie that he's filming. It just got delayed because he got injured, but he's still making that. There are many, many other things that Henry Cavill is doing right now, so don't feel bad for Henry Cavill. He's actually living his best life right now. Also, he's in a live-action Voltron movie. That's right, live-action Voltron movie. To his credit, Liam Hemsworth, even though he is the lesser Hemsworth brother, is a nice dude, but it just feels like a complete mess behind the scenes. So it seems like The Witcher is probably going to be a slow-moving train wreck for the last 2 seasons, but that just means it's going to be done relatively quickly. They'll probably release Season 5 next year, and then that'll be it. Close the book, and then we will never speak of The Witcher Netflix again.
What did it cost?
Everything.
In the actual clip, if you couldn't tell, this is Geralt versus the Wraith, and it looks like he's with Zoltan the Dwarf and Milva the Hunter with her bow. You notice he uses his silver sword because silver is for monsters, for wraiths like this. His regular sword is for humans. That's the whole idea. One for humans, one for monsters. You notice when he summons the wraith, he uses his Ard sign to knock himself back away from it. He also uses the Eredin sign to trap it. The Eredin sign also makes it corporeal so he can physically attack it with his silver sword. Then he rips out its heart and it turns to dust, basically. You can harvest death dust and ectoplasm from wraiths. He fights them in the games and in the books. Then they flash the new pendants. I couldn't quite make out the symbols on his pendants. It starts out with one, which is destroyed, revealing one underneath. If you didn't read the books, Season 4 and 5, the last 2 seasons, will adapt Baptism of Fire, The Tower of the Swallow, and Lady of the Lake with some video game stuff thrown in, because there's some stuff that they do in the games that picks up after the books end. All the stuff where Ciri actually fights the White Frost, that is purely from the games, not from the books. And the Elder Blood, the reason why Ciri is so powerful, her whole line, the reason why she exists, is to defeat the White Frost. So obviously they want to adapt a version of that for the TV show, but they've already changed some of the White Frost storyline to make it seem like it's a character that we met during The Witcher Blood origin. So I'm also expecting a lot of changes from what we actually saw in the games if you played through the last Witcher Wild Hunt game. The author Andrzej Sapkowski is also writing a new Witcher book, but I'm assuming that none of that is going to be incorporated into the last 2 seasons because they're basically almost done filming all of The Witcher Season 5. And a lot of the reports are saying that they're using a twist with the Nimue character from the books to actually explain why he looks like Liam Hemsworth and not Henry Cavill anymore. In the context of the books, Nimue eventually tells the story of Geralt and his companions many years after they passed away, like many years into the future. So by Nimue's time, all the characters have become legendary. Many versions of their story exist with many different interpretations when people tell different versions of the stories about Geralt and his friends. This is how they're explaining why he looks different and looks like Liam Hemsworth and not Henry Cavill, because in the version of Geralt's stories that Nimue tells, he looks like Liam Hemsworth.
These are not them! You've captured their stunt doubles!
Nimue, the character, doesn't really show up till a little bit later in the overall book story. Ciri runs into her while she's trying to find her way home to her world, and Nimue helps her. But I think they're actually introducing Nimue earlier in the seasons on The Witcher Netflix so that they can set up this whole storytelling twist where she tells Geralt and Ciri's story, and in that version of the story, he looks like Liam Hemsworth. Baptism of Fire is largely Geralt trying to find Ciri, who is now on her own with the rats. We just saw that briefly at the end of Season 3. She continues to have more visions of the Wild Hunt. He then meets Milva the Hunter, healing his wounds from the fight with Vilgefortz, meets up with Zoltan from the Dwarves, and eventually meets Regis the Vampire, who's being played by Lawrence Fishburne. While this is going on, Cahir comes back into the story and tails him. But Yennefer gets captured by Francesca, then the Lodge of Sorceresses forms after the Theanid coup at the end of Season 3 in the fall of the Brotherhood of Sorcerers. The Lodge seeks to use Ciri and her power for their own personal gain because they want magic to reign supreme in the world. Vilgefortz still wants Ciri, then Leo Bonhart the Bounty Hunter goes after Ciri, so all these different forces on the show, different factions, want Ciri to use her power. Tower of the Swallow is a reference to Tor Ziriel. Ciri believes that she can use the portal inside the tower to take her back to Theanid, away from everyone that's hunting her, and remember, there are a lot of people that are hunting her. What winds up happening, though, is the portal takes her to the elven world of the Ain El, which we saw during the Witcher Blood origin in the origin of the Wild Hunt. Also maybe the origin of the White Frost, too, technically, the show's version of the White Frost. Ciri actually saw a vision of her ancestor, Lara Doran, who was the beginning of the Elder Blood program that the Ain El started. She fell in love with a human mage, which is how the Elder Blood line passed to humans. The elves previously planned for it to stay in their line only. The whole reason why the Elder Blood program exists in the first place is to stop the White Frost. So my assumption, just based on the way that Netflix paces these seasons out, and Season 5 will be the last season, is that Season 4 will end on a cliffhanger with Ciri walking through the portal in Tor Ziriel to the Elves' world, and Season 5 will just pick up with her stuck in the Elves' world. The actual title of the final book, The Lady of the Lake, refers to Nimue, who Ciri runs into while searching for a way to get back to her world with the portals. Nimue helps point her in the right direction. Then all that book story actually ends before Ciri fights the White Frost. All that stuff is directly from the Witcher 3 game.
Avalok gave me a choice. I made the decision. I must stop it.
There's gotta be another way.
All the events of the Witcher video games pick up after the end of the last book. This is why they have to adapt some of the video games, because they're building up to Ciri stopping the White Frost, which previously they've teased is Falka from the Witcher Blood origin, who survived. In the books, she's also this big antagonistic force that they talk about, but like I said, the books never actually dealt with Falka as the White Frost, so this is something that the show is doing different from the books. This is also why during The Witcher Season 3, you saw all those scenes of Ciri trying to deal with Falka, who was trying to twist her for her own ends and gaslight her. She also wants to use Ciri's power. Most of the stuff about Falka being the White Frost, though, seems like it came from the Witcher Blood origin TV show. Also cool side note, because she mentions Avalok during that clip, we actually saw Avalok in the Witcher Blood origin post-credit scene, getting ready to talk to Ciri at the beginning of the Witcher Netflix TV show timeline. There's a lot of time travel in the Witcher stories. But it's also really relevant right now in particular because the actor who plays Avalok in the Witcher Netflix universe also stars on Alien Earth as a major character, and it is just a vastly, vastly better show, which I'm also doing videos for, so be sure to watch those if you haven't started already. Like I said, it could wind up being a total train wreck for the last 2 seasons, but it will be the last 2 seasons, so we won't have to talk about it after Season 5.
All right, we're here.
Let us never speak of the shortcut again.
There was supposed to be a Witcher Rats spin-off show for that group that Ciri winds up with at the end of Season 3, but reportedly it was an even bigger disaster than The Witcher Season 4 and Season 5 with the Liam Hemsworth switchover. Like, if you thought that what was happening with that with the Henry Cavill switch was bad, then whatever happened with the Rats is just vastly, vastly worse. So I think the idea is that Netflix truncated whatever their original plan was, like they just edited it down to death, Witcher Blood Origin style, and they'll just treat it like they did with the Witcher Blood Origin, where they treat it like its own little thing, and it's just a smaller version of what they originally planned, and then just hope that everybody forgets about it, like they'll never mention it again. So maybe there will be like one more Witcher spinoff and maybe more Witcher animated movies. The animated movies that they've done have actually been pretty solid. Like they brought Doug Cockle back, who voices Geralt in the games, to do the animated movies. That is why it sounds way more accurate to the actual video games. It looks like they're releasing the entire season all at once on October 30th. They're not going to do like a break in the middle of the season like they are with Stranger Things later this year, or they did with The Witcher Season 3. So there'll probably be a much bigger story trailer in the next couple of weeks. But if you spotted any other Easter eggs or references in this teaser trailer that I didn't talk about during the video, or you have other questions about how they're going to wrap up the Witcher story for the Netflix series just in general, just write them below in the comments. I've already done a couple videos about Henry Cavill's Warhammer series and the other stuff he's working on, so I'll link it at the end of this. He is really living his best life. Once we actually start getting some footage for that Warhammer TV series, I will start doing some more videos for it regularly. Everybody click here for that Henry Cavill Warhammer trailer, and click here for all my other Witcher videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.